Let's take you here now. Anti-Apartheid campaigner Peter Hain says the UK's decision to ban Bain Company from government contracts for 3 years sets an important precedent. The Cabinet Office in London says it's introducing the ban because of the management consultancy firm's grave professional misconduct in South Africa. Now, let's have more discussion around this. We're now joined by the Black Business Council CEO, Kganki Matabane. Mr. Matabane, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Now, of course, Bain being banned in the UK, government contracts over the role of state capture. Would you say we've now entered the era of accountability?
Good evening. So good afternoon, Unati and the viewers. We really welcome the decision by the UK, and we think that's the way to go. We don't think the paying your way out of trouble like they've done in South Africa is well considered. We think it's discriminating against those small firms that may not necessarily have deep pockets. And it creates an impression that justice has got eyes, justice is able to see color, is also able to see size, and so on. So we hope that the South African government will learn from the UK that the decisions need to be taken, tough decisions as such, so that we can demonstrate to all and sundry that we are serious about fighting corruption. The way South African government has treated Bain and McKinsey's and others is basically saying to them that you can do bad things and you can get involved in corruption and destroy our SOEs, and then you can still do business with government.
And in fact, this has, of course, been said that it will set, a very important precedent. I mean, as Black Business Council yourselves, you've always maintained that any individual or even company that has been implicated in the Zondo Commission should, in fact, face the law, even though they have, paid back those monies that were taken during these transactions that were illegal. Where do you think is the problem then with the South African government from acting and not necessarily being the ones that are playing behind, in companies like the UK? Because as we understand, this particular case is not going to stay here in the UK. They are going to now go after Bain in the US as well, because that's where it also has, retained a lot of its businesses.
We think that what is lacking in South Africa is the political will to take tough decisions, to hold the big business to account. The government seemingly is only able to hold small businesses to account, and that is not boding well for democracy. So we are calling for our government to follow the steps of the UK, deal with Bain very, very harshly, but also deal with the others, because there are others who also pay themselves out of trouble, because we don't think that is the correct way of resolving issues. They must still pay, because that money belongs to the state and belongs to service delivery in South Africa. But the individuals who are directors there and partners must still be held accountable, so that they can know that they are not going to do it once again anywhere else in the world. But the way we treated them with kissed gloves, we're sort of encouraging them to keep on doing the same thing. They destroyed our institutions. We are suffering now. As we're sitting now, we're suffering because of what they've done, but they're still doing business in government, doing business with government, and then doing business with the state-owned enterprises. They should be banned, they should be held accountable, and people must account.
Now, this particular case, it has also yet again, brought to the fore the importance of whistleblowers. We know that a lot of the corruption had been exposed by the crucial work of whistleblowers, across the country. But the sad reality is that some of those whistleblowers are still doing the work for government. As we've seen now with the anti-apartheid campaigner Peter Hain, he didn't work alone. He worked with some South African whistleblowers who made sure that some, companies were exposed and that they were brought to book. So in the role of government, in as far as protection to the whistleblowers is concerned, how satisfied are you with how they're treating our whistleblowers? I mean, I speak of one individual, Mr. Williams, who is still, out of the country, still afraid for his life, and yet still exposing corruption because, as we know, it didn't stop with the Zondo Commission.
South Africa needs to do more to protect whistleblowers. We should stop talking about protecting whistleblowers, but actually protecting them. And then I think part of the money that gets returned to the state should also be utilized to put a fund together so that whistleblowers can at least receive some income there, because most of the time, once you are a whistleblower and then you are known, most of the companies don't feel comfortable in employing you. So most of the whistleblowers, if you look at those who participated in this, most of them are unemployed, and that is very, 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 very painful and sad, because we should actually be doing more to encourage people to be whistleblowers than doing what we are doing now, because we're exposing them to danger, but we don't protect them by at least making sure that their livelihood is not threatened. So we're proposing that part of the money that has been paid back by Bain and others should actually be used to look after all the whistleblowers.
Mr. Matabane, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. We really do appreciate it. That is Black Business Council CEO Kganki Matabane, of course, welcoming that decision by the UK to ban Bain Company from government contracts for at least the next 3 years.